This is Nancy with Nancy's Garden Soap, and I wanted to just show you some of the preps that I do before making a soap video. Here I've measured out well, I should start with this. Over here, back here, I have my printout of my recipe that I'm going to use. I print out a recipe for each batch of soap, and I usually put the date at the top so I know when I created it, and I store those in a folder. So that each flavor that I make, each variety I make, I have notes and I have a printout for it. All right, and then I've measured out, this is my tallow. I measured out the appropriate amount. And then this is some castor oil I'm putting in here. I measured out my essential oils here. I prepared honey powder and goat's milk powder here. And let me show you what I use for that. I have a video that I'll link to somewhere in the corner, somewhere right up in here. I'll link to it. I use the Meinberg whole powdered goat milk with vitamin D, and this Arizona Farm brand cactus honey powder. I put those in this recipe. I have 2 tablespoons of each dissolved into 2 tablespoons of distilled water, and then I mix it, microwave it for a few seconds to warm it up, mix it again, strain it, and I'll be adding it in here later. Back here I have distilled water that I measured out, plus my lye and a teaspoon of sodium lactate. So I'm using this today instead of sea salt. I think that's it, except for I'm going to show you how I do my mold. Oh, I also have my spatulas ready for cleaning out different containers. The colored spatulas at my house are for soap, and the white ones are for food. And that's the technique that I use to keep them separate. And let's look at the mold. Over here I have my soap mold. And here's what I do with my soap mold to prep it. A lot of people ask me this, and I don't want to say I'm lazy, but I like to put in as little work as possible and get the best result. So I don't actually line my soap mold. These fold down, and we have a video on how to make a soap mold like this that my husband prepared. I will try to add another link to that right up here, and the corner right up here somewhere, right there. I take printer paper, fold it in half, and stick it down into here and tuck it in. And then I take another one, fold it in half lengthwise. This is what I found gives me the best results for the least amount of work. It's not foolproof, and if you have a very wet soap that you make, your batter is very soft, this may not work for you, and you might need to line it. But I add things like sea salt and sodium lactate to my soaps so that they're nice and firm. I reduce the amount of water in them so that they're nice and firm. Alright, so once I put those in, I fold these back up. And I think you can see how that looks in there. It's nice and flat. Then I put the end caps on here and here. And then I use the strap, the luggage strap like this, and put it around. I don't think I talked for too long about my measuring out the lye, but I do measure out the lye and put it into my distilled water. So I measure the distilled water, and then I add the sodium lactate or sea salt to it, and then I measure out the lye and add that in. There's my lye. I use stainless steel, sorry about the arm, stainless steel utensils to stir it. I open a window if necessary. And I think those are my preps with the exception of plugging in my stick blender. My old stick blender died, finally. I used it for a long time. It was a Hamilton Beach. Had a detachable silver part here. You'll see it on my, it wasn't silver, it was probably stainless steel or chrome bottom. It worked really well, and at the very end this part here broke off. So I'm using one of my backup ones that I got at a thrift shop. So this will work until it dies, and I have another backup. Alright, I think those are my preps. Review real quick. Castor oil, essential oil back here, honey and goat's milk, lye with the distilled water with sodium lactate, and lye. I'm melting my tallow right here. I turned it off already, and I'm going to stick blend this. Off to the side, I have spatulas. Oh, I didn't show you one more thing with my mold. I'm going to rub tallow on the inside of this mold. Not tallow from here, but just tallow, fresh tallow from my box of tallow. I'm going to rub it in here. And then all right, so let me show you the inside of the soap mold. I've got the paper down here, and then since the recipe I'm using today is tallow and castor oil, I chose one of those two oils to line the inside. So I chose the tallow, the beef fat, and I've rubbed it on the inside of my mold. And if I were using a recipe that did not have tallow and had coconut oil, I would use coconut oil. If it had palm oil, I would use palm. And that's pretty much how I take care of my molds. I do not always oil the sides. My mold's pretty dry right now because I haven't used it in a week or so, and so I'm greasing it up pretty good. So there you have the mold, and I think we're ready to go. So that's how I do my preps. If I had colors or micas that I was using, I would also have those ready to go, and that's about it. So I'll see you at the next video when I make a peppermint essential oil all natural soap with tallow and castor oil. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. If you'd like to see my soaps or purchase any, you can do that at www.nancysgardensoap.com. Thanks. Bye.